The question is, why do we choose low value or low income or low impact producing activities instead of the high impact, high income, high value producing activities every single day? Well, the answer is twofold. Number one, it's because we've gotten into the habit of doing the small, menial, unimportant things first, thinking that being busy is the same as being productive. That's number one. Number two, in most cases, procrastination is caused by insecurity. Us either not knowing what steps to take, us not feeling like we are smart enough or good enough, or us feeling that we have to wait for everything to be perfect before we really get busy and do it. The truth of the matter is, those are all lies. They're rational lies, but they're all lies. What I want you to do from now on is every morning when you wake up, before you answer email, before you return any phone calls, make a short list of the 3 most important things that are either highest income for you or highest impact, meaning it's going to give you the biggest impact when you get that done on your productivity. So 3 things every day, and make a commitment, which means to cut off from any other option, to get those 3 things done by 12 o'clock every day. When you develop that new habit, you will then become somebody who not only talks a big talk, which I hope you do, but you actually back it up with the actions required in order to achieve the success you want to achieve. What I've learned over a lot of years is that it's not the smartest people who achieve success. It's the people who procrastinate less, make fewer excuses as they take actions every day towards the goals that they want to achieve.
Not necessarily there are more demands, it's just that we're accessible to more demands. And if you don't know what you want, and you don't know why it's a must for you to achieve it, and you don't have a plan, I can promise you something. You're gonna fit in everybody else's plan. And you're gonna wonder why you're stressed. And you're gonna wonder why I'm not fulfilled. What is time? How do you know when it's a long time? Or how do you know when it's a short time? It's not because it's 10 minutes or 10 hours. How many have been in 10 hours and time flew because you loved what you're doing, didn't have any sense of time whatsoever? How many have had that experience? Say aye. How many have had 10 minutes feel like 10 years you want to kill somebody to get out of the situation? So what is time? Time is emotion. Gotta remember that time is emotion. What you're really managing is emotion. Another word for that would be meaning or fulfillment. Focus is power, but you gotta take it. Take it back. Take back that power. And you gotta know when you do have that focus, how to chunk it, how to group it so you're not overwhelmed. Let me show you how to make it simpler. When mass information's coming at you, you get overwhelmed. Most of us are great deletion creatures. We delete most of life. Right now, there are millions of things around you could be focusing on, thinking about, giving meanings to, making decisions about what to do. Millions. And when you think about what it's gonna take to do something, usually it takes a lot and you're not gonna wanna do it. Do I'll do it when? Later. As my Australian friends would say, later. Right? And of course, the problem with doing it tomorrow is when you get to tomorrow, tomorrow is today, and tomorrow never comes. So, and you keep promising yourself. By the way, what does this do to you emotionally when you keep breaking your own promises with yourself? Or you keep failing to do things that you know are important? Does it increase your level of certainty and confidence? No. What it does is it erodes it. And when you erode confidence in one area, believe it or not, it affects the other areas too. Do you believe me on that? Don't believe me. What about your own life experience?
I want to talk about a principle today of affirmation. Because I believe that people do best in an encouraging, affirming environment. I just do. Very seldom I've ever had a person say, let me tell you really how I achieved great success. I just was in a constant negative environment. And it just encouraged me so much and it just stirred me on. Very seldom I've ever had somebody tell me that when people talk down to them, it just improved them. You see, encouragement, affirmation, it's the oxygen of the soul. It feeds us. It takes us and gives us hope. Napoleon said leaders are all dealers in hope. And so the affirmation principle is very simple. I find something that you're doing well, and I use that to lead you. I use that as the starting place, and I look at you and say, hey, I like what you did there. Let's talk about it a little bit. Let's even talk about maybe how next time you can do it better. My friend Kim Blanchard made the phrase management by walking around kind of a popular phrase. And basically, he just said walk through the office and catch somebody doing something good and point to it, affirm it, and build off of it. Now, there are people that do things that are not so good, and there are times in leadership you have to deal with the tough issues. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. People go farther, do better, and try harder in an affirming, encouraging environment. So the best that you can do is to constantly look for those good moments and make them better. That's what an affirming environment is all about. Looking for the good moments, making them better. Trust me, you do that a few times, and people will want you to walk around. They'll want you to catch them in their good moments because they know that's where they'll get encouraged and that's where they'll get affirmed.
Every day, work for 5 hours, the 5 great hours concept, and then pull back and have fun, rest, renew. And then every week, take a weekend off. Every month, try to take a week off. Every year, try to take two months off. And the interesting thing is, number one, rest is the elite performer's secret weapon. Number two, this is so important. If you want to get more done, take more time off. Because if you're working 24/7 in a linear way versus like a pulse, what starts to happen is you erode and deplete your genius. And in my methodology, I teach the 5 assets of genius, including mental focus, physical energy, 3, personal willpower. But just remember, if all you do is work, you're going to empty your batteries. You're going to deplete your well. And that's why the smartest performers, the great athletes, the great industry titans, the great humanitarians, these people all have learned one thing: work in cycles. If you were to look at the great weightlifters of the Olympics, they all had one thing in common, and it was periodization. Periodization. And periodization simply means they worked, they exercised, and then they rested.
Dr. Gail Matthews, who's a professor of psychology at the Dominican University of California, she did this amazing study on goal setting, right? And she discovered this, that we human beings are actually 42% more likely to achieve our goals if we simply write them down. Look, I know y'all, I know this sounds basic, but people still don't have their top goals written down. And I gotta tell you, they certainly don't look at them every day. So here's what I do. This is my own personal practice. Whatever my top goals are for the moment, I actually write each one of them down. I do this every day, and I write them down at least 15 times. This is exactly what I did when it came to my book, Everything is Figureoutable. I literally wrote, I am a #1 New York Times bestseller 15 times a day, every single day for 18 months. Now, you can say what you want about that, whether it's voodoo. I think it's all about focus. So if you think I'm nuts, I'm fine with that. Most people do. But once I did this every single day, it helped me keep my top focus top of mind, right? So you can do this too. And if you're truly serious about achieving your goals this year, please make sure that you actually write them down. And I would encourage you to write them down daily.